Hello and good morning. Welcome to Unity of Las Vegas. Well, we have a very special service for you today. I'm going to be joined up with Reverend James Trapp, Unity Minister from Sacramento, California, and it's called Spiritual Life Center. We're doing a joint talk today, and it was so great we already filmed it, so I'm introducing it. But the thing of it is, we're going to be doing some joint ventures again in the future. So the title of today is The Way Forward, and that's the title of our upcoming workshop series that we're going to be doing starting Tuesday. It's entitled The Way Forward as well. So you're getting a little preview today. So right after the last song, we're going to go right into the talk. And so be prepared for a special day today. And also, before we get into any of that, we might as well get the energy flowing. I understand Michelle has this great song. Now, it's by Ricky Byers, and she is a fabulous singer, and Lisa and I have been with her on several occasions, and this song is entitled Use Me.
Use me, oh God, for you, and here on the fight as you show.
Good morning. My name is Don Fouts, and I am honored to be prayer chaplain for Unity of Las Vegas. Before we go into the daily word and a short prayer, I would like to invite you to a midweek inspiration service that Reverend Jim and I are holding. This is at noon, and there is information in the chat about that. These are indeed complex and stressful times, maybe filled with confusion. As such, each of us is challenged to not give into the stresses and challenges. We want to manage our stress, not have stress manage us. And so I chose this daily word affirmation. I am calm, peaceful, and relaxed. Is there something in my life that is making me feel tense? Am I in conflict with someone or something? It is easy to become focused on such situations that it can be a challenge to let it go. At times like these, it is important to find ways to relax. For example, I can go into the quiet and center myself on the divine source of peace within me. I can also use an affirmation that I can silently repeat to myself wherever I am, wherever I may be. I also pause to care for myself by honoring my feelings. If I feel my frustrations start to build, I express my feelings by writing them down or sharing them with a trusted friend or confidant. In caring for myself, I make room to feel calm and relaxed. And from 2 Thessalonians 3:16, now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times, in all ways. The Lord be with you all. And for that affirmation, I'd like us to go into breath awareness and repeat silently 3 times. I am calm, peaceful, and relaxed. I am calm, peaceful, and relaxed. I am calm, peaceful, and relaxed. And remember the suggestion to call a friend. Perhaps you would like to call Silent Unity, a friend for all of us. For one-on-one prayer, Silent Unity's number is 816-969-2000. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Namaste.
Thank you, Don, for a beautiful prayer. So as I was thinking about the meditation this week, I thought about Charles Eisenstein's book, and the title of that is The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. And I think it is one of the most inspiring book titles for the times that we currently live in. And I love it because it brings to the imagination the possibility of a more beautiful world, and it points out that in our hearts we have a knowing of this that is innate to the nature of our heart. In spite of appearances, we don't really need to be convinced that there is a more beautiful way of being on the earth together. Deep down inside, we already know this. Heart knowing is a knowing that is beyond the intellect, beyond beliefs, and lives in this beautiful realm that is intimate with the creative forces of the universe. It's like a kind of heart DNA that contains within it all the necessary seeds for full manifestation. And Rumi says, everyone sees the unseen in proportion to the clarity of their heart. So today, as we are embracing an empowering, light-filled way of moving forward, It would be wonderful to tap into this inner coding of the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. So just take a moment now as we move into meditation to begin to focus on your breath. Find a very comfortable place to sit and close your eyes. And so as you are breathing, just imagine that you are taking breaths in and out of your heart. And notice as you are doing this that a certain warmth begins to radiate out. A certain light begins to radiate out. And just allow this beautiful warmth and light to continue filling your entire being, all of your physical body, your thoughts, your emotions, your spirit. And just feel this light just continuing just to move out, even beyond your physical body. The heart is an organ of perception. We have the ability to see life through our hearts. We can hear through our hearts. And we can take in the world through our hearts. So sense this radiance and this light filling the physical body and radiating out into the whole of the cosmos. Philip Shepard has a word that he calls holosapience, our ability to sense oneness with everything, interconnectedness. We have the ability to impact the universe deeply by this interconnectedness that is present. There is part of your essence in every tiny crevice in the cosmos. And the cosmos exists within the smallest particle of your being. So as you're continuing to breathe, just breathe in this profound interconnectedness with all things in all beings in the universe. And sense into this impact and this ability that we have to impact everything in the universe. Sense into this exchange inside this interconnectivity. And sense that the universe has already been impacted by this simple gesture of heart expansion. And now imagine something that has the potential to be more beautiful in your life. It could be a challenging condition, someone or something that needs healing, or something that could express light more fully. Who or what is this for you today? Bring this to mind now. And now bring this person or condition into your heart, into this deep place of knowing, this deep wisdom and interconnectivity with all beings and all things. Allow it to abide with you inside of your heart without trying to fix it or change it in any way. What is occurring for you as you do this? And now imagine this person or condition in their highest possible expression of light. Allow your imagination to be free, including the impossible as need be. Let your heart resonance be your guide with this. What images come to mind that make your heart shine the brightest? What is your heart saying yes to? And continue to breathe into this and know that your heart is home here. And this is an incredible blessing to the universe. It has creative juice and is now existing and manifesting in the universe in a perfect way. And feel this blessing rippling out into all of the cosmos. And now acknowledge the gratitude that is coming back in return, for truly a more beautiful world has been created in this moment. And so it is. And so now we will hear the beautiful message continue of imagination through song.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. Wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Good morning. Well, I'm James Trapp, Senior Minister of Worship here at Spiritual Life Center.
And I am Jim Lee. I'm the Senior Minister at Unity of Las Vegas. And no, Las Vegas does not have palm trees and beaches. I just like it. I am in Vegas. And so, hey, James, good to be working with you and all of that. But look, a lot of people over here don't know you. So who is James E. Trapp?
Well, I'm just going to give you the Reader's Digest version of who James Trapp is. I am like I said, at Spiritual Life Center. Been here for 7 or 8 years now. And before that, I was the CEO of Unity Worldwide Ministries. And before that, I was in Miami at Unity on the Bay, at a ministry there. But my previous life, I was a lawyer, so I guess you could say today I'm practicing divine law. And it's a whole story behind how I ended up getting into ministry from that, but that will require a whole different conversation.
Really, I can relate. And so I'm Jim and I know some people in Sacramento because that was one of the churches that I had, but there's a lot of people there, James, in your house that may not know me. So I just want to say that I've been in Vegas now since January the 5th. I got here before the pandemic, got a chance to see it before it closed. Prior to that, I was at Renaissance Unity, which was formerly Church of Today. Marianne Williamson and I worked together for a couple of years, and so that was really good. She expanded my awareness of metaphysics with the Course in Miracles. And then prior to that, a couple of churches, but just like you, James, I had a career prior to ministry, and I was with IBM for several years. And so that's a little bit about who we are now. Look, James and I are hooking up together. We're getting ready to do this seminar series called The Way Forward. But this is the talk about it, but it's about you. So, James, I want to start off with this question in the form of, there's a song years ago, and I don't know who did it, but it was saying, "What's it all about, Alfie?" So what is this all about, James? We want to know.
Your song is from Alfie. What's it all about? Mine is from Marvin Gaye. What's going on? It's kind of what's in my mind right now, and that is the question of the day. What in the heck is going on? Well, we're going through some uncertain times. With this pandemic, has really caused us to relook at what life is about. And when we go through these times that are uncertain, it really creates discomfort, because I think most human beings like to have some clarity and certainty as to how things are going to unfold. Maybe not 100%, but generally they want to know how things are going to unfold. And right now, with this experience we're going through, there is a great deal of uncertainty. There are a lot of question marks. And so I think what we're trying to figure out is, how is it that we can be comfortable with the uncertainty? How can we be comfortable with the discomfort that is arising, and how we can just be in the moment? And we're looking at spiritual principles and concepts and ideas that will help us move through this with greater ease and with greater grace. So that's kind of where we're coming from. And I think one of the things is that we're seeing this, in the way I look at this, is an evolutionary trigger. It's really causing us to look at how we can be a greater service to one another on the planet, and also help us see how we can evolve individually and collectively as a human species. And sometimes we don't see the full picture. I remember a story about Howard Thurman, who was a professor at Morehouse College and also an advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. And he had announced that he was going to give a lecture. And the lecture was entitled "The Benefits of Slavery." Now, anyone looking at that time would say, he must be out of his mind. There is no benefits at all to what had happened through that. But when he came, so most people that came, they were ready to attack him and challenge him and chastise him for even thinking such a thing. And during his lecture, what he said was that the enslaved individuals from Africa were transported all over the planet. And the reason they were transported all over the planet is to bring a certain consciousness that they had from the continent, to help evolve the evolution of the consciousness of the planet as a whole, that you would not see right then, but only see a century later or even beyond. So folks calmed down and realized that, well, maybe there is some benefit that we cannot see. And then we can look at the pandemic from that perspective, because maybe there's a bigger picture that we need to take a look at that we're not looking at it properly, or at least from that broader perspective, in order to see the benefits. And I think one of the things is to help us determine what we value. Oftentimes we value, the shiny objects in the world, the material things in the world. Some people may value, the sports teams and athletes and movie stars and, acquisitions and so forth. But in this experience that we're going through, we are actually realizing who the essential workers are. And oftentimes the most essential workers, not beside the doctors and the medical people, but the baggers in the grocery store, we realize how essential they are. The people who stock the food, the truck drivers, and all of them is helping us realize that all of us are important, and it's really causing a transformation in what we value as one of the byproducts of this experience. To say, among other things. Anyways, it's helping broaden our perspective. Now, I know that, oftentimes you talk about, as we move forward, that to get out of this situation and with greater ease and grace, you say that the way out is in.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you mean by that.
So it's like the way out of this predicament that you talked about. We've got to take a look at going in to go out. So it's a internal process. Now the out, as you just described, gosh, this is so universal. And then there's this book that I like, it's called The 9 Waves of Creation. What it says is quantum physics, holographic evolution, and the destiny of humanity says that there is an evolutionary impulse that we are experiencing now that's ushering in a new paradigm and the new reality. We're just going through a process, but when you take a look at it, it looks very uncertain and chaotic. And as we're doing it, we're saying, first thing we've got to do is to go in. And when we go in, something happens. Jesus Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within, also at hand in this very moment. The other thing, the kingdom of heaven is near, and it's in all things. So there's something is happening here with this evolutionary impulse that we are tapping into by loving ourselves within. So in other words, we've got everything that we need already within us. James, I know you mentioned once before, you got a nice little expression about what's on the inside. How do you call that?
Oh, I mean, we're loaded and coated with possibilities. Yes. Yeah, we are loaded and coated with possibilities.
And I love that. So that's what we are. We've got all of these things in us. It's like the baby chick that's in the egg and is getting close to that time for it to be hatched. The environment is claustrophobic. There is less and less resources there. And in that very moment, when everything really looks bad, the universe doesn't come in and say, look, baby chick, let me just make you a way and crack it open. What happens, the universe said, I gave you everything that you need from the very beginning, inside of you, even the beak that can be able to break through that shell and come out. So what I'm saying is the way out is going in and tapping into everything that's within us is there. And the primary vehicle is unconditional love, loving all parts of us. It's love on steroids. It's love to the X factor. I mean, there is no spot where we do not give love its due. Every part of us, and James, even the shadow part of us, right?
Yes, yes. Well, yeah, we talk about the shadow a lot because, oftentimes we don't want to face the shadow. We want to pretend that it's not there because we think it's something bad or something against us. But you mentioned the idea that the kingdom of heaven is within, and I also remember this scriptural reference that's in the Gospel of Thomas,
Hmm.
not in the formal Bible, but we could talk about how the Bible is put together. That's a whole nother conversation. But in the Gospel of Thomas, it is stated that the kingdom of heaven is all over the place, but people see it not. So that goodness, that heaven, the ever expanding good is everywhere. So even in the shadow, that is something that is not against us. It is actually for us. But we have to transform how we look at it. There's a story in the Bible when Jesus was in the wilderness and he confronted the devil, which means crazy thoughts. And there's a statement that he says, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Yeah.
And oftentimes we thought he meant, well, just get away from me, don't bother me, go somewhere else. But over time, I realized that when that statement was made, he was saying, "Get thee behind me." In other words, transform the crazy thoughts, transform the shadow so that it is no longer considered to be an adversary, but is actually behind us. It has our back, it's pushing us forward. So that which we consider to be adversaries, that what we consider to be bad, that we consider to be against us, is actually an ally or a friend in disguise. So we can look at this experience as a friend in disguise to help us evolve more as individuals, evolve more as a collective species. And so our perception is everything.
Ooh, the perception, our interpretation,
Yes.
our points of view, in order for us to move forward, we've got to go in and change that and love ourselves so then we could bring that forward. And as we do, we have to be willing to let go of some of our old perceptions, thoughts, and interpretations, and so that we can make space for the new. So when we do that, something interesting happens because then we can start to see, what if Colin Tippin was right? What if nothing is against you? Everything is for you. Then we take this love and then we're able to see the conditions before us. In that moment, we can see, aha, there is something valuable there, but you can't do it with hatred and animosity and all of that. You've got to bring love to the table. And it's like, James, I know you both have probably shared the story about the two city boys that went to their uncle's farm. And gosh, they were all excited. We're going to have a great time on the farm. But he said, not so fast. One of the things that you will need to do, we call them chores. Here's a pitchfork. What I want you to do is start shoveling this manure. And there's a lot of manure. After about 15 minutes, one of them said, "Hey, I'm tired of this." And he stopped and he looked at his brother and he said, "Why are you still shoveling?" And he says, "With all of this manure, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere." And so, James, that is a story metaphysically about some perceptions. What is the metaphysics of this?
Well, I've always believed that how we look at a particular situation determines what it is for us. In that story, both of them were looking at the same, quote, facts, but the way and the perspective they were coming from was totally different. And because they had total different perspectives, they were coming at it from two different perspectives. Their experience was totally different. And one of the things we have to take a look at as we navigate through this experience is ask ourselves, what perspective, what consciousness am I coming from? Because that's going to determine how we see it, how we're going to navigate through it. If we look at it as being something terrible, something bad, then that's what we will find. But we will find something that's beneficial if we come from the perspective that there is some benefit there for us as on a personal level as well as a collective level. So oftentimes when we look at a situation, we're just looking at one small part of it. We're not seeing the whole picture. I had an instructor, spiritual teacher, and he would say that oftentimes in life, it goes through a process of evolution. And it starts out with the thesis. In other words, things are going along pretty much normal. We get kind of comfortable with that. And then there's some disruption that comes in, what he called the antithesis. Is the thesis and then the antithesis. But those things come together to form a new synthesis, a new way of being, a higher evolution, so to speak. And I think we have to look at this as being somewhat of an antithesis to what was normal, but what it's leading to is something greater for us individually and collectively. Like looking at, sometimes you look at a movie, and if you only see one frame of the movie, you're not seeing the whole movie. So you have to kind of be in it long enough to understand that there's something about to evolve that we don't see if we're just seeing it from that one perspective. So
absolutely. Wow. And as I'm feeling into this, I would say that a lot of people would like to get there, but they're having a challenge with it because of the internal judge or prior programming or successes or failures and trust issues with the universe and all of that stuff. Well, we're going to step you through that in our class and our seminars, so you don't have to worry about that. But one of the things that I really want us to take a look at today is that love is so magnificent that if we can just relax in the moment, open ourselves up, we don't have to work at this. It's already there and it will come forth. Now, what's really coming forth is the real us that's not blocked up with a whole bunch of contaminated thoughts. But when the contaminated thoughts come, what we're going to do is love them. And it just washes over them. So there's actually what I want to say is, with this way of being, there's no way to lose. Now, we're not saying that this is the way. This is a way that really has some value into it. And so we are now adjusting to what's going on because we are meeting this condition with love and insights. And so I know that you're doing the same thing, James, as I am. Right now, this virus has created it so we're doing this together, presenting to our two churches. This would, under normal circumstances, wouldn't be possible. We are combining forces for good, and we're hoping that this will spread. But this, if you really look at it right, there are case after case in which this is now possible.
Yeah, because usually in adversities and challenges that we at least see from the human perspective, that something new always emerges. Even in a challenging environment economically, if you look back on history, some of the most successful people develop their success out of the most depressed economic conditions. And so even for us as human beings, when we have challenges like this, what we're saying is there's more in us to come out. And And so now, rather than just resting on our laurels, it's almost as if the universe is asking, who in the heck are you? Show me who you really are now. So we have an opportunity to show who we really are, and that which is within us is always far more powerful than anything outside of us. And if we see it from that perspective, we'll bring that out and it'll make a big difference in our life.
And so
I know we can go on and on and on about this, but I don't know if you want to say a few things before we close out today.
So I just want to say, as we wrap this up, and boy, this has been good. You're right, and we'll get into a lot more in the class. I want everybody to be aware of, there is this thing called what's true, and these are the facts. These are the conditions. But there's an expression, everything must change. So it's not permanent. What is permanent is the truth, capital TRUTH. And that's what I'm inviting people to tap into, is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that there's only one presence. There's only one power, and that's God. And this God's nature is pure love. Let's tap into that, because that is the way, and that is inside of us. So if we move into that, something happens. So I want to turn it over to you, James, and wrap it up for us.
Well, I think you pretty much said it all with that. But if I would say one thing, if we want to really recognize as the truth, that everything that we need, we already have. It's within us. And if we realize that, come from that perspective, we're going to be all right. Every little ting going to be all right. As they say in the I look in the background, that's what I'm thinking about now, somewhere in Jamaica, man.
So I want to close out with an affirmation that I invite you to say. Now, the folks at Unity of Las Vegas have heard this. Sacramento, you may have not, and it may seem kind of weird, but I want you to buy into this. Open yourselves up and just say, my God, what a fantastic time to be alive. So with that, sign off. God bless you.
God bless, man. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
So remember this Tuesday, the way forward. Hopefully you can join us. Now, we as a church, as a ministry, we're moving forward. And thanks to your tithes and your contributions, we are really holding our own. So thank you so much. And we invite you now to go to our website and donate there, or you can send a check in to our address on Rainbow Avenue. Whatever you do and how much it is greatly appreciated. So in this consciousness now, I just want to thank you, and whatever offerings that you have, we're just going to say a prayer over it. And it's this: thank you, God, for the ever increasing, unceasing flow of good in your life and in my life right now. And as we hold this vibration, Michelle has selected someone to sing with us, and his name is Eddie Watkins Jr. And boy, he is really popular throughout the New Thought movement, and he's going to sing a song, I think it's entitled, We Are the Way That God Shows Up.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God lives. You are the place. Moves and breathes and has we are the place. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God you are the place. We are the place. I am the place where God shows up. I want you to clap your hands and sing it with me. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins, Husk, can I have some more of that?
You are the place where God shows up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Gosh, it's been a great service today. Thank you for everybody that's participated. And I just want to send a special shout out to Michelle and Alex and Ziggy for supporting us to making this happen. Yay, team. So in conclusion, of course, nothing like the prayer for protection. Let's close out with the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is there. All is well. God bless you.
Come on. Ooh, yeah. Victorious spiritual